Look, I need to get this down somewhere because I'm starting to lose my mind over here. My girlfriend, Emma, left for Seattle last Monday for some work conference. She's in marketing for this tech startup and they're always sending her places. I stayed back in Phoenix because someone had to watch our place, and I couldn't get time off from my job at Best Buy anyway. We live in this cookie-cutter subdivision called Desert Springs. You know the type. Identical houses with tiny front yards and those fake rocks instead of grass. Everything was normal the first couple days. I worked my usual shifts, came home, ordered DoorDash, played some Xbox. Tuesday night I grilled some burgers on our back patio and Mrs. Henderson from next door waved at me over the fence. Normal, neighborly stuff. Wednesday morning, I was loading my car for work when she came over. "Tell your girlfriend I said hi," she said, smiling. "I saw her in your kitchen window this morning making coffee. She's so sweet." I just stared at her. "Mrs. Henderson, Emma's been in Seattle since Monday." Her smile flickered. "Oh, well, maybe I was mistaken about which house." But she looked confused, not convinced. I figured she just mixed up the houses. Our street has about 15 identical layouts. Easy mistake. Thursday after work, I was checking the mail when Gary from across the street flagged me down. Gary's this retired guy who spends way too much time watching the neighborhood from his front porch. "Hey, Mike, quick question. Is your girlfriend's sister visiting or something?" "What sister?" "The woman I keep seeing at your place. Looks just like Emma, but with shorter hair. She was in your living room window yesterday around lunch, and I saw her again this morning." The weird thing was Gary's detail about the shorter hair. Emma had cut hers right before she left for the trip. I'd been teasing her that she looked like a different person. "Gary, Emma's out of town. Has been all week." He scratched his head. "Huh, well, I definitely saw someone. Maybe it's just the way the light hits your windows." At night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I checked all our locks twice, walked through every room. Nothing seemed off. I even called Emma. "Did you give anyone our spare key?" I asked her. "Of course not. Why?" I didn't want to worry her, so I just said I thought I'd heard something. She laughed and told me I was being paranoid. Friday morning, I was running late for work when I bumped into Janet, the woman who lives 2 houses down. She jogs past our place every morning at like 6:30. "Your girlfriend's an early riser. I always see her on your upstairs window when I run by, usually around 6:15. My stomach dropped. "Janet, what did she look like?" "Like Emma. Same height, same build, though her hair looked different. Shorter, maybe." I called in sick for work. I spent that entire Friday sitting in my car at different spots around the neighborhood watching my own house. I felt insane, but I had to know. Around noon, I parked at the end of our street where I could see our front windows. I sat there for 3 hours. Nothing. But when I went back inside, there was a coffee mug in the sink, one of Emma's favorites with a chip on the handle that she refuses to throw away. I'd done all the dishes that morning before I left. I was sure of it. I took pictures of everything. The mug, the sink, even the way the dish towel was folded. Then I set up my old laptop in the living room, aimed at the kitchen, and let it record while I went to grab groceries. When I got back 2 hours later, the laptop was closed. I'd left it open. The recording had stopped about 20 minutes. The last frame showed the empty kitchen, and then it just cut off like someone had shut the laptop. Saturday morning, I was washing my car in the driveway when Mrs. Henderson came over again. She looked uncomfortable. "Mike, I don't want to pry, but is everything okay with you and Emma?" "What do you mean?" "Well, I saw her come home last night around 10. She parked right in your driveway, went inside with a suitcase. But then this morning Gary mentioned he thought she was still out of town." I felt like I was going to throw up. "Mrs. Henderson, what kind of car was she driving?" "That little blue Honda, same one she always drives." Emma drives a blue Honda Civic, but Emma was in Seattle. I talked to her at 9:30 the night before from her hotel room. I called Emma immediately. She answered on the second ring, background noise of the conference center behind her. "Mike, what's wrong? You sound awful." Emma, I need you to check your credit cards and bank account right now." "Why? Why?" "Just do it, please." She put me on hold. When she came back, her voice was shaky. "There's a charge from yesterday. A rental car place in Phoenix. But Mike, I didn't rent a car. I'm in Seattle.
I haven't left the hotel." That's when I called the police. The officer who came out was polite but skeptical. He walked through the house with me, checked all the windows and doors. Everything was locked up tight, no signs of forced entry. He took down the neighbor's statements, but I could tell he thought it was just a case of mistaken identity. Maybe someone who looks like your girlfriend is staying nearby. These subdivisions, all the houses look the same. People get confused. But Mrs. Henderson was certain about the car, and Gary was certain about the timing, and Janet was certain about the window. Emma flew home Sunday night. She was freaked out about the rental car charge and had already called her bank to report fraud. We changed all our locks Monday morning, but here's the thing that's keeping me up at night. When Emma was unpacking her suitcase Sunday, she found a receipt in one of the pockets. It was from a gas station here in Phoenix, dated Friday, the same day I called in sick, the same day I spent watching my own house. Emma swears she's never seen that receipt before, and when I looked at the address of the gas station, it was less than 2 miles from our house. I keep thinking about what Gary said, about the shorter hair, about someone who looked just like Emma but different, someone who knows where we keep the spare key, someone who knows which coffee mug Emma likes, someone who drives the same car. I've been checking Emma's ID every morning when she wakes, just to be sure.
I'm only telling this because I know they won't believe me. Not my friends, not my family, not anyone. And maybe that's the only reason I feel safe saying it out loud, because it will just sound like a weird story, not a warning. I'm just a regular person. I go to work, I come home, I keep to myself. My life isn't exciting, and I've always been fine with that. But something happened in my own home that I can't explain. And once you hear it, you might start looking at your own front door a little differently. I live alone in a 2-bedroom townhouse just outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's nothing fancy, beige siding, small patch of grass out front, a narrow driveway that barely fits my car. I work early shifts at a home improvement store, and most days I'm home by mid-afternoon. My life is predictable. That's how I like it. Last Thursday started like any other. I clocked out at 2:15 p.m., grabbed a coffee from the Sheets on Route 30, and drove home. It had rained earlier, but by the time I pulled into my driveway, the pavement was dry. I remember noticing that because I hate tracking mud inside. I unlocked the front door, stepped in, and froze. There were wet footprints in the hallway. Not muddy, just damp, like someone had walked across the floor with wet socks or bare feet. They started near the front door, went down the hall toward the kitchen, and disappeared on the tile. The thing is, they weren't mine. I was wearing work boots, and the soles didn't match the shape. These were narrower, longer, barefoot. I stood there for a good 30 seconds, trying to make sense of it. My first thought was that maybe I'd left a window open and rain had blown in somehow, but the footprints were too defined. You could see the toes. I walked through the house, checking every room. The windows were shut. The back door was locked. Nothing was out of place. No sign of a break-in. I told myself it had to be something stupid. Maybe I'd spilled water earlier in the morning and stepped in it without realizing, but I couldn't remember doing that. I grabbed some paper towels, wiped up the prints, and tried to forget about it. That night, around 9 p.m., I was watching TV when I remembered my security camera. I have a small one, mounted above the front door, pointing at the porch. I pulled up the app on my phone and scrolled through the day's footage. At 1:47 p.m., about half an hour before I got home, the camera went black. No error message, no motion alert, just a gap. The feed picked back up at 2:12 p.m., showing my car pulling into the driveway. I checked the settings. The camera was plugged in, Wi-Fi was fine. I couldn't explain the outage. I told myself it was a glitch. Still, I didn't sleep well. The next morning, I woke up to find the thermostat set to 78 degrees. I always keep it at 70. I live alone. I didn't touch it. I checked my phone. The smart thermostat app showed the change had been made from the wall unit, not the app. I was asleep at that time. I started to feel uneasy. I went through the house again, checking locks, looking for anything missing. Everything was there, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been inside. That evening, I called my friend Mark. He's a pup in the next county over. I told him about the footprints, the camera outage, the thermostat. He asked if I'd noticed anything else, signs of forced entry, missing items, strange cars in the neighborhood. I said no. He told me to keep an eye out and call if anything else happened. Saturday morning, I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing. It was a notification from Facebook. Your post has been shared. I hadn't posted anything. I opened the app and saw a photo on my profile, a picture of my living room, taken from the corner near the hallway. The caption just said, "Nice place." I deleted it immediately. I checked my account activity. It showed the post had been made from my phone at 5:02 a.m., but my phone had been on the nightstand next to me. I live alone. No one else has my passcode. I changed my passwords, logged out of all devices, and ran a security scan. Nothing unusual came up. I even called my phone carrier to see if there had been any remote access. They said no. By Sunday, I was jumpy. Every sound made me tense. I kept checking the locks, the windows, the camera feed. I barely left the house. That night, I decided to sleep in the living room. I set my phone to record video, propped it on the coffee table, facing the hallway. I figured if anything happened, I'd have proof. I woke up around 6 a.m. The phone was still recording. I watched the footage, fast-forwarding through the night. At 3:27 a.m., the hallway light flicked on. No one was visible. The light stayed on for about a minute. Then it went off again. I called Mark again. He came over, walked through the house with me, checked the locks, the attic, even the crawl space. Nothing. He suggested maybe I was sleepwalking. I told him I'd never done that in my life. Monday afternoon, I came home from work and found the footprints again. Wet, bare, leading from the front door to the kitchen. It hadn't rained. The weather had been clear all day. This time I noticed something else. On the kitchen counter, there was a glass of water, half full. I hadn't poured it. I dumped the water, wiped the glass, and put it in the dishwasher. Then I sat at the table and tried to think. If someone had a key, why would they come in just to walk around, change the thermostat, post a photo, and leave a glass of water? Why not take anything? Why not make it obvious? That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark with the lights off, watching the front door. Nothing happened. Tuesday morning, I checked the camera feed. At 4:11 a.m., the video cut out again. When it came back at 4:19, the doormat was slightly crooked. That's all. I called a locksmith and had the locks changed. I bought a new camera system with battery backup and local storage. I thought that would make me feel better. It didn't. Because last night, I woke up at 2:58 a.m. to the sound of water running in the kitchen. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and walked in. The sink was empty. The faucet was dry. But there was a fresh glass of water on the counter. I didn't drink it. I didn't touch it. I just stood there, staring at it, feeling my chest tighten. I don't know who's coming into my house.
I don't know how they're getting in. I don't know why they're doing this, but I know it's not random. It's not a prank. It's not in my head. I've stopped inviting people over. I've stopped posting online. I keep the blinds closed. I don't tell my coworkers anything. I don't want anyone to think I'm losing it. But every time I walk into the hallway, I look down at the floor and I swear, one of these days, I'm going to see those wet footprints again.
I live alone in a 2-bedroom apartment in Columbus, Ohio. I moved here 6 months ago for my job at Nationwide Insurance, and I've always been careful about security. I check locks twice, I have a doorbell camera, and I keep my routines unpredictable. Growing up as an only child with working parents taught me to be self-reliant, but also cautious. The first sign something was wrong happened 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday morning. I woke up to find a coffee mug in my sink that I didn't remember using. It was clean, just sitting there like someone had rinsed it out. I figured I must have been more tired than I thought the night before and forgotten about making tea before bed. But I don't drink coffee. I haven't owned a coffee mug in years. The mug was white ceramic with a faded logo for some local bank I'd never heard of, First National of Delaware County. I checked online, and the bank had been closed since 2019. I threw the mug away and tried not to think about it. 2 days later, I found crumbs on my kitchen counter. Small, dark crumbs that looked like they came from rye bread. I only buy white bread, and I always clean my counters before bed. It's part of my routine. I vacuum the living room, wipe down the kitchen, check the locks, set my phone to charge. I've done it the same way every night since I moved in. I started paying closer attention. The next morning, Friday, my refrigerator was slightly open. Not wide open, just cracked enough that the light was on and the motor was running harder than usual. Inside, someone had moved my orange juice from the door to the main shelf. I always keep it in the door. That weekend, I installed a motion-activated camera in my kitchen. It was a small wireless model that uploads to the cloud, the kind people use to watch their pets during the day. I positioned it on top of my microwave, angled down toward the counter and sink. The app promised to send alerts to my phone whenever it detected movement. Monday night, I went to bed at 10:30 p.m., like always. I set the camera to record and made sure my apartment door was locked, deadbolt engaged, security chain in place. My building requires a key fob to enter, and my apartment is on the 3rd floor. No balcony, no fire escape access. Tuesday morning, I had 17 motion alerts on my phone. The first alert came at 2:14 a.m. I opened the app and watched a 60-second clip of my empty kitchen. Nothing was moving. The timestamp showed the recording was from my camera, but I couldn't see anything that would have triggered the sensor. The second alert was at 2:31 a.m. Same thing. Empty kitchen. No visible motion. This continued every 15 to 20 minutes until 6:45 a.m., right before my alarm went off. But when I walked into my kitchen that morning, there was a bowl in my sink with milk residue at the bottom. Cereal milk. I could smell it. And my box of Cheerios was on the counter, not in the cabinet where I keep it. I called in sick to work and spent the day reviewing every second of camera footage. 17 alerts, 17 clips of an apparently empty kitchen. But someone had definitely been in there. Someone had eaten cereal at my counter and washed their bowl in my sink. That afternoon, I bought a second camera for my living room and another one for the hallway by my front door.
I also changed my locks and added a security bar to my door. If someone was getting in, they were either picking my locks or they had a key. Wednesday night, I barely slept. I kept my laptop open next to my bed, watching the live feeds from all 3 cameras. At 1:47 a.m., my phone buzzed with an alert from the kitchen camera. I switched to that feed immediately. The kitchen was empty, but I watched anyway. For 20 minutes, nothing happened. Then, at 2:08 a.m., I saw movement in the living room camera. A shadow passed across the frame, but when I rewound the footage, I couldn't see what had cast it. The hallway camera showed nothing. No one had come through my front door. Thursday morning, I found my kitchen faucet running. Not dripping, running. The water was lukewarm, as if someone had been using both hot and cold taps. My dish towel was damp and folded neatly next to the sink. I took screenshots of every camera alert and started a log. Times, dates, what I found each morning. I also started sleeping with my bedroom door locked and a chair wedged under the handle. That's when I noticed something else. My neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Patterson, had started giving me strange looks when I passed her in the hallway. She's lived in the building for 12 years and usually makes small talk about the weather or complains about the building management. But for the past week, she's just stared at me with this confused expression. Friday morning, I knocked on her door. "Mrs. Patterson, I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you noticed anything unusual lately? Any strange sounds or people in the hallway at night?" She looked at me for a long moment. "Are you feeling all right, dear?" "I'm fine. Why do you ask?" "It's just that I've been hearing you moving around at all hours, walking back and forth, running water, opening and closing your door. I didn't want to complain, but it's been keeping me awake." My blood went cold. "What do you mean, moving around?" "Every night for the past few weeks, usually between 2 and 6 in the morning. I hear your door open and close, then footsteps in the hallway. Sometimes you're gone for hours." "Mrs. Patterson, I haven't left my apartment at night in weeks. I've been having trouble with someone getting into my place, so I've been extra careful about staying inside." She frowned. "But I see you leave. I look through my peephole when I hear the door. You walk right past, usually carrying a grocery bag or something. You're wearing that gray hoodie you always wear." "I own a gray hoodie. I wear it constantly around the building." "What time do I usually come back?" "Around 6:30, just before you leave for work. I always wondered why you were doing your grocery shopping in the middle of the night." I thanked Mrs. Patterson and went back to my apartment. I sat at my kitchen table and tried to make sense of what she had told me. According to my cameras, someone was triggering motion alerts in my kitchen every night. According to my neighbor, I was leaving my apartment every night and returning in the morning. But I've been in my bed, awake, watching the camera feeds. Last night, I set up one more camera in my bedroom, pointed at my bed. I wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't sleepwalking, that I wasn't somehow leaving my apartment without remembering it. This morning, I reviewed the bedroom footage. 8 hours of me lying in bed, barely moving, clearly awake, and staring at my laptop screen for most of the night. But I had 19 kitchen alerts between 2 and 6 a.m. And Mrs. Patterson says she saw me leave at 2:15 a.m., carrying my reusable grocery bag. I don't know who is living my life while I'm lying in bed, but they know exactly how I take my cereal.
I moved into my house in Glendale, Arizona 3 months ago. Single-story ranch, decent neighborhood, nothing fancy, but it was mine. The previous owner had died, and the estate sale made it affordable for someone like me working IT support at a medical billing company. The realtor mentioned the owner had lived there for 47 years, Margaret Henley, age 81, natural causes. Her family lived back east and just wanted the house sold quickly. I got it for $30,000 under asking price. Everything seemed normal for the first few weeks. I unpacked, set up my home office, got familiar with the quirks every old house has. The kitchen faucet dripped if you didn't turn it completely off. The bedroom door stuck unless you lifted it slightly when closing. Standard stuff. Then, the mail started coming. At first, it was just the usual forwarding issues you expect after someone moves. Bills and catalogs addressed to Margaret Henley. I wrote "Return to sender, deceased" on them and put them back in the mailbox. The post office would figure it out eventually. But after a month, the mail kept coming. Not just random junk mail, but personal letters, cards from what looked like grandchildren, medical appointment reminders, a birthday card from someone named Rose with a handwritten note inside that said, "Can't wait to see you next week like we planned." I called the post office. They assured me they had updated their records. Margaret Henley's mail should have been forwarded to her daughter in Connecticut months ago. They would look into it. The mail continued. I started opening some of it, thinking maybe I could contact the senders directly and let them know Margaret had passed. Most of the personal mail came from the same few people. Rose appeared to be a close friend. There was someone named David who signed his letters, "Love, your grandson." The medical appointments were all with Dr. Patricia Santos at Desert Valley Medical Center. I decided to call Dr. Santos's office directly. "Hi, I'm calling about Margaret Henley. I bought her house after she passed away, and I keep getting appointment reminders sent to my address. I wanted to let you know she died so you could update your records." There was a pause. "Could you repeat the name?" "Margaret Henley. Henley. "Sir, I show Margaret Henley as an active patient. She was just in last week for her regular checkup." My stomach dropped. "That's impossible. She died 3 months ago. That's why I was able to buy her house." "I'm looking at her file right now. She has an appointment scheduled for next Thursday at 2:30. Are you sure you have the right person?" I hung up and immediately called my realtor. "Hey, Steve, this is going to sound weird, but I need to double-check something about Margaret Henley, the previous owner of my house." "Sure, what's up?" "She definitely died, right? I mean, that's why the house went to her estate?" Steve laughed. "Of course she died. I handled the whole thing with her daughter Karen. Natural causes, like I told you. Why?" "I keep getting her mail, and her doctor's office says she was just in for an appointment." "That's probably just a clerical error. You know how slow some places are to update their systems. I can send you a copy of the death certificate if you want." "Yeah, actually that would help." He emailed it to me that afternoon. Official state document, dated 4 months ago, Margaret Ann Henley, deceased, at age 81. Everything looked legitimate, but the mail kept coming. I decided to drive to Desert Valley Medical Center myself. The receptionist who answered the phone was working the front desk when I walked in. "Hi, I called earlier about Margaret Henley. I'm the person who bought her house." She nodded. "Right, you said she had died. But like I told you, she's an active patient." "Could I see her file, or maybe you could tell me when she was last here?" "I can't share patient information, but I can tell you she checked in for her appointment last Tuesday at 2:15. "What did she look like?" The receptionist seemed uncomfortable. "I can't really describe patients, but she's exactly what you'd expect. Elderly lady, gray hair, uses a walker. She's been coming here for years." I showed her the death certificate on my phone. She stared at it for a long time. "This is really strange," she said finally. "But I know she was here. I checked her in myself."
That night, I went through every piece of mail I had saved. The birthday card from Rose had a return address in Glendale, only 6 miles away. I found her number in the phone book. "Rose, hi. This might sound strange, but I'm calling about Margaret Henley." "Oh, how is Maggie? I haven't heard from her since I lunched last week." "Ma'am, I hate to tell you this, but Margaret died 4 months ago." Silence. "That's not possible. We had lunch at Denny's on Glendale Avenue last Tuesday. We do it every month. She seemed fine." "Are you sure it was Margaret Henley? About 5'3", gray hair?" "Of course I'm sure. I've known Maggie for 15 years. We met at the senior center. She told me all about her new kitchen cabinets." I felt cold. "New kitchen cabinets?" "Yes, she was so excited. Said she finally got them installed last month. White ones with glass fronts. She invited me over to see them next week." I looked at my kitchen. White cabinets with glass fronts. The realtor had mentioned they were recently renovated. "Rose, what address does Margaret live at?" She gave me my address. I hung up and sat in my living room, staring at the walls. According to every official record, Margaret Henley died 4 months ago. But according to her doctor, her friend, and apparently the people who knew her best, she was still alive, still living in this house, still getting her mail. I have not slept well since that phone call. Every morning I check the mailbox, and there is always something new for Margaret. Every day I wonder who is living the life that was supposed to end 4 months ago. Last night, I heard the kitchen faucet dripping. I went to turn it off completely, the way I always do. But when I got there, it was already off. Someone else knew about that faucet.